Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for this webinar titled SAP S/4HANA Cloud Implementation. I am your host, Amit Kumar, and I head marketing for Microexcel. Microexcel is a leading technology service and solution provider catering to technology requirements of over 300 plus organizations across the US. We are also a gold partner of SAP. Before we begin, here are a few basic guidelines. So all the attendees will be on mute. This to make sure that the webinar can be facilitated conveniently. We are also recording today's webinar, and the recording will be shared with all the attendees. If you have any questions during the webinar, please type those in the questions panel, and I will bring those out towards the end of the presentation. Today's webinar will be focused on SAP S/4HANA and specifically on cloud deployment. To deliver the webinar, I would like to welcome Nitin Fatnani. He's the Vice President of SAP Practice at Microexcel. Nitin brings over 2 decades of experience in technology space, of which close to a decade and a half has been in SAP technology and with technology giants like Ernst & Young, Fujitsu, and ThoughtFocus. Nitin has successfully delivered multiple complex SAP applications and infrastructure projects for global Fortune listed firms. With his experience cutting across planning, delivery, project management, change management, and solutioning, we look forward to an engaging webinar. Nitin, floor is all yours.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this webinar on SAP S/4HANA Cloud. I'm sure most of you, have read about it and have been, somewhere or somewhat associated with SAP. If not, well, this is a great opportunity for you to get closer to SAP and SAP S/4HANA and SAP S/4HANA Cloud. So, while Amit has given the introduction, I am the Vice President of SAP Practice at Microexcel and have been, instrumental in, substantial SAP S/4HANA deployments, assessments, including cloud deployments for customers. So yes, I'm here to give you a deep insight on what the product is, what are the capabilities, and what are the deployment options available, and key considerations for you as an organization who probably is planning to consider SAP S/4HANA as the next gen ERP, or already probably are running on an SAP R3 platform and are looking to upgrade, migrate to the S/4HANA platform. Be it an on-premise or cloud. So we will take a look at that, and probably a new terminology for some of you, S/4HANA Cloud Single Tenant Edition. It'll just be a short spotlight or a brief spotlight on this offering from SAP. So yeah, without any further delays, let me just give a brief background. Looking at the S/4HANA story, obviously coming from SAP with that 43 years of experience, the latest generation of the ERP Business Suite product running fully in memory. Of course, we know that it utilizes the HANA platform, which is based on a columnar data store, as well as in memory. So giving the real-time insights, instant decision-making, faster performance, greater data compression capabilities. And of course, with the latest generation, the 4th generation of the Business Suite product from SAP, we have a bigger process optimization. The higher number of processes have been optimized and standardized in their new product to maximize the throughput speed, ease of use. The new generation UI from SAP, which is based on the Fiori platform, which is capable of running on any device, be it a mobile or a tablet, and available through the web. A great user experience there from SAP with S4HANA. And then decision making on the fly, very intuitive. Simplified architecture, obviously gone from multi-fold relational database tables to lesser number of tables to go in for a leaner data footprint there. And then multiple options for deployment based on each customer landscape and situation, given on-premise, cloud, hybrid, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I mean, truly a next generation business suite, enabling customers to go in for a real digital transformation there. And then probably it will be good to take a look at what are the options available today. So we have the cloud ERP offering, which we are now calling it the SAP S4HANA Cloud. We have S4HANA Cloud Single Tenant Edition, and then we have SAP S4HANA On-Premise and the On-Premise hosted in a private cloud option. So private cloud meaning that it would be your providers like AWS, Azure, Google Cloud Platform, and so on. So like we all know, or may not know, but yeah, the SAP S4HANA on-premise is the full suite, which is the platform available for customers for self-hosting and for on-premise use. And then you have the private cloud option, which is managed infrastructure, or I would say the infrastructure as a service or platform as a service option. And then we have the cloud ERP offerings from SAP, which are probably the best in the segment with a fully SaaS-based option, and of course based on focusing on the lower total cost of ownership, where the customer is totally free of managing infrastructure or managing a platform, managing upgrades, and so on. So let's take a deeper look into the SAP S4HANA Cloud solution. Well, some of you may also have heard the term SAP S4HANA Public Cloud or a multi-tenant cloud. Now we do call it as SAP S4HANA Cloud in general. So just clarifying that there. Yeah. So looking at the SAP S4HANA Public Cloud solution, three major pillars there. One is the intelligent suite, the digital platform, and intelligent technologies. So by the intelligent suite, we're clearly talking about a core business suite solution or an enterprise management solution spanning across different processes from multiple industries and lines of businesses, coupled with the additional ecosystem products of SAP around people engagement, manufacturing execution, or even CRM solutions or CPQ solutions. Intelligent nature of the solution incorporates the SAP Leonardo platform with machine learning, artificial intelligence, robotic process automation capabilities. Of course, these all help to reduce the manual work and giving the capabilities for predictive analytics as well. And then the digital assistant, your Siri or Google Assistant, maybe somewhat on those lines. SAP has a co-pilot and a digital assistant where we could also deploy, audio or voice bot and have collaboration, easy nature of collaboration between organizations and their members, linking to each respective data in the system. So seamless flow of information via social platforms as well. And then being a standard solution running on a best practices solution. So SAP S4HANA Public Cloud is based on SAP's industry best practices solution. That means it leverages SAP's experience of the last 43 years to come up with the best practices under each industry, under each line of business. And then it's a quick deployable solution, not spanning across months and years, but rather can be deployed in weeks, owing to that fit to standard or the standard business process approach. Um, if you look at the other features, it's continuously getting updated. There's continuous innovation. SAP is releasing 4 updates a year, which means a faster innovation cycle. Every quarter, we get new features, we get updated functionality, and then newer applications. And you can keep up with the regulatory practices and changes on a faster basis. Lower cost of ownership. Clearly, a subscription-based SaaS model. No capex investments, no infrastructure investments, no upfront license investments, and absolutely no maintenance, annual maintenance kind of fees to be paid. So moving from your organization can move completely from a capex model to an opex model. Infrastructure teams, IT infrastructure teams, there can be a strong reduction there. You don't need OSDB resources to manage. You don't need data center resources to manage the infrastructure. So obviously the infrastructure investment definitely it drops down to a huge extent. User adoption is really fast, and there is flexibility, easy flexibility. That means you don't really need to size your deployment initially. There's no sizing exercise. You don't need to go in for a certain size of an instance. You can rapidly scale up as you go. This will obviously enable faster and easy plug and play kind of model for future acquisitions and mergers as well. Also allows you to work in a two-tier landscape where your central instance or your headquarters may be on an on-premise, or your subsidiaries or your local companies or your dealers could be running on the S/4HANA cloud solution. And then talking about the hands-free operations. So obviously we're also looking at upgrades which are managed by SAP. So we don't need to worry about upgrading. So just like the quarterly upgrade, it'll obviously be taken care fully by SAP. Of course, it's also governed by SAP there. And then we're also looking at a higher uptime, DR capabilities, recovery capabilities. SAP is promising a 99.5% plus uptime. So all these parameters around stability, resilience that a IT and business mix would really worry about to keep that systems up. That responsibility is taken up by SAP, and even SAP promises a strong commitment to data security. So your data is secure, it's encrypted. Even SAP does not have access to it. Yeah, and then a fluid, seamless Fury platform enabling embedded analytics for the first time. Obviously, there are Fury applications which allow you to see and view data in an analytical form. Self-service reporting. No need of developers to develop reports. Use a certain app to go and view the data in the format you would like to see on your own. So quite a few features, and on the integration part, it has native integration. SAP Cloud Platform seems to be the new benchmark for integration as the middleware, and there is native integration with SAP's cloud and SAP's on-premise products. So clearly, a very intelligent, instant, intuitive solution and an innovative solution there. And last but not the least, we do get real-time insight and real-time data owing to the nature of the HANA platform. So yes, truly a new generation ERP from SAP, enabling the digital transformation journey for customers. So this probably gives an overview on what is the kind of breadth of innovation and integration that the S4 HANA Cloud solution is supporting. Uh, all right across from SAP's cloud products on the right side, covering from travel management, employee central, which is success factors. There's Ariba, there is Hybris, Fieldglass, business objects cloud, and then on the left side, the on-premise solutions, ERP. That means some of your units can continue to be on ERP while they are, some of them, if you are planning a phased approach, some of you planning to move some of your units to S4 HANA Cloud only. And there is a standard native integration available from SAP itself. And then SAP's other on-premise products as well. There is native integration available. There are whitelisted APIs available. SAP Cloud Platform gives us the capability to build custom workflows, set up custom apps, host custom applications, host custom portals, and develop your own APIs as well to throughout cover the entire spectrum of integration with any and almost every provider out there. So yeah, there is a poll question now. So
Sure, Nitin. I'm launching our first poll question for today. We'll request all the attendees to respond to this poll, and once I close it, we'll share the findings of the poll. So the poll question is, what best defines the stage of SAP S4 HANA for your organization? And you have to select from one of the options given there. We have 5 options, and all attendees can select their options from in there. All right, so we have captured the responses, and what I see is 33% of people are on SAP ERP, and they are still exploring SAP S4 HANA as a solution. 33% also have optimized and finalized, licenses secured, and they will be initiating the implementation. There are other two set of 17% each. One says not on SAP, but considering S4 HANA as our next gen ERP. And then the balance 17% saying that planning is completed and open for an S4 HANA assessment. So that's the outcome of this poll. And Nitin, I pass on the mic back to you.
thanks, Amit. All right, so we so far saw what are the features of new generation cloud ERP from SAP. Of course, in a nutshell, it does allow us to free up resources for innovation, allowing businesses to adapt rapidly, and then all sorts of new age digital core products around machine learning also enables us to keep up with the digital expectations from our respective customers and meet those standards as well. So, truly, in the sense, a very innovative product there. So, I think this is probably one of the questions lurking in your minds already uh, around the deployment options. So, if you look at the deployment options, very simple. If you are a customer who is already on SAP, then of course there are two routes to go. But if you are a customer that is considering, who's not on SAP already, but is considering the SAP S4 HANA platform for the next generation ERP, then of course you have the option of moving on greenfield. And then the S4 HANA cloud platform is clearly a greenfield only option. We'll look at the comparatives, of comparative options available across all the four options available that we saw. But yes, if you look at the new system installation, which is a net new installation, the cloud definitely is one of the options available for you. If you are already on SAP ERP, ECC R3, then you have options of a system conversion, which means carry forwarding your existing database and migrating that database along with all the older transactions, master data configurations, and custom developments into SAP S4 HANA, but on premise or using the private cloud option. S4 HANA public cloud is not an option there. When it comes to a larger landscape which has multiple ERPs, you do have an option to transform your business fully. And you want to get away, or you are in a situation where you want to get away with older configurations or custom developments or a larger custom footprint, and standardize your business processes as per the industry best practices or SAP's industry best practices approach, then public cloud is definitely an option. This also, when it comes to the landscape transformation, consolidation can also happen in the cloud. That means you had multiple SAP instances and you're consolidating to only one instance. That's also possible. Two-tier ERP option is also there. We're not delving into that too much today, but the two-tier option definitely allows some of your business units to move onto an on-premise, and some smaller units or probably less complex units to move into the cloud. So this is about the deployment options. Now let's take a look at what probably are the key considerations while choosing your next generation platform. So whether you should be choosing an SAP S4 HANA on-premise, or should it be the SAP S4 HANA cloud, and whether you should be doing a system migration or you should be doing a greenfield or a net new implementation. Let's see what based on our experience, based on Microexcel and my experience delivering these projects, these are the considerations that most customers and companies would like to consider. Business functionality. Since the SAP S4 HANA public cloud solution is based on SAP's best practices, there may be some of the functionality which is very specific to a particular company or a customer, which may not be available. So that could be the case. Then in that case, some of the functionality which is not supported, you may have to probably look at the on-premise option. So that's one major deciding factor. What are the kind of processes and the complexity of the processes within your organization. The next step is some kind of regulatory requirements which do not allow you to host data in cloud or SAP's cloud, or probably in a public cloud environment. Some industries or certain businesses do have those kind of regulatory requirements, and they do bar you from doing that. In that case, again, there is a decision to make there. Regional requirements. Some of the region specific or a country specific statutory requirement can also bar you from hosting data in a data center which is probably not in the same country. At the moment, SAP has data centers for SAP S4 HANA Cloud across almost 50 plus countries. But yes, you may have a business unit or a company which belongs to a particular country where SAP does not have a data center. So if your data is hosted elsewhere, then the country statutory regulations may not allow you to be on the public cloud. SAP customization and integration footprint. Now, you are already an SAP customer. You've probably implemented SAP ERP R3 probably way back in the 90s or the early 2000s. And over these years, built a lot of custom functionality over and above SAP standard functionality. Of course, today, what SAP offers as standard in their S4HANA solution is much more than what it used to offer in the past. SAP over a period has invested effort in and brought in innovations to make sure customers don't go in for these custom development options today. But yes, over a period of last 10 15 years or 5 years, you may have accumulated custom developments in your system which you may find difficult to get away with, or your integration footprint may be so wide and across that you have almost 500 to 1000 interfaces which are with third party tools, applications, portals, websites. Some of those may not be able to come within the ambit of the SAP Cloud Platform hosted APIs, or maybe you have gone in for subscriptions or vendors who do not support further integration. So it's a tool, you have subscribed for it, you bought it, and then the vendor is not available at your beck and call to do further innovations and connect to a new system if it's not supporting SAP S/4HANA Cloud natively. So that's one area where again, there's a decision to make. Now, being from the best SAP best practices, industry best practices foundation, the product is limited in terms of flexibility of solutioning. So when we say flexibility in terms of infrastructure, yes, SAP S/4HANA Cloud Platform is probably the best. You can ramp up, ramp down as you go. Probably your subscription model also does not depend on the size you're consuming. It's a user-based billing. But somewhere, there is a decision to make, because if you have implemented certain processes in a certain way in the past, and S/4HANA Cloud is your option of choice, then while implementing, you may have, as an organization, the overall mindset needs to change to align to standard processes, industry standard processes, which is what SAP is calling fit to standard. So that's where the flexibility within the organization and that agile decision making will be required at that point in time, that, hey, you know what, our processes, there is a gap between our process and the best practice, and we have decided to go in for best practices because it's not just SAP, but it's there's a lot of partners and there's a lot of industry experts that have contributed to development of those best practices, and they've not just sprung up today. It has matured over a period of almost 1 or 2 decades. So that mindset change is one of the most important parameters while considering the SAP S/4HANA Cloud solution. IT strategy and data retention strategy. So again, here comes where your total cost of ownership, decisions around capex and opex, your budgeting. Let's say your organization financially is the one who wants to take the benefits from the depreciation you probably earn from. You never earn depreciation, but yeah, theoretically, I would post depreciation into my books to probably show it as an expense. So I would go in for upfront license investments. I'll go for hardware investments, which I would eventually show as depreciation. So that's just an example. But yeah, clearly, there is a IT strategy that comes into place where we're saying that, you know what, we want to go on the cloud come what may, and we want to reduce our infrastructure footprint. We want to reduce the IT infrastructure management footprint, and we will have to change our mindset to a best practice. So it is linked. So the strategy within the organization from an IT standpoint, because obviously hosting an appliance, a HANA appliance, is a larger exercise compared to simply subscribing to a service which is a software as a service. And again, even the infrastructure and platform as a service are a mixed option. So you're going in for an upfront license subscription also, and you're also paying for or subscribing to IaaS or PaaS services. Then the next key decision maker here is your data retention strategy. So of course, if I'm not talking about the overall data retention. Let's say if your company wants to carry forward all the older transactions and not just a summarized version, since SAP S/4HANA Cloud is a greenfield only option, there is no option to carry forward backdated transactional data as it would look on your screen. You will have to summarize, you will have to create a closing point, and then you'll have balances, you'll have closing balances, you'll be loading your inventory balances, you'll be loading your material balances, your bank balances, your open orders, and all sorts of master data. So yes, data migration tools are available. Uh, uh, but then there are also limitations around the custom development. So when we say custom development, we cannot build custom data migration objects. So SAP provides standard data migration objects with the S/4HANA Cloud solution. So one of the key points to remember is that there is no development option available. There is no real ABAP. The ABAP or coding or custom development is available for a very limited option. Wherever SAP has provided an enhancement, we can. There are other ways to extend your solution and customize it, which is the in-app extensibility. And then there is also a concept of side-by-side extensibility. Now, side-by-side extensibility relies heavily on the SAP Cloud Platform to be hosted as a middleware integrated next to your SAP S/4HANA Cloud solution. So, that's one key point, that yes, in a greenfield, you will never be able to take backdated transactions with you. Innovation cycles, that's the next thing. Now, there are a lot of businesses who are not going to be happy with that 1 day downtime or half a day downtime every 3 months, because although it's near seamless, but yes, there is a short gap of that innovation. It gives you features, it gives you updates, but yes, it also somewhere to a 0.1% disrupts somewhere. And there is also certain impact strategy that you got to analyze, that yes, there will be some new functionality that would be coming. Maybe a particular screen got changed. So there is a certain effort. I'm talking purely based on the experience that we've had implementing, for customers, that yes, there would be a certain pre and post effort in that, once in a quarter, to be able to analyze that yes, what's changing in that upgrade, and then once that change has landed into the system, probably do some kind of testing. There are also very strong automation testing capabilities available in the S/4HANA Cloud solution. So you don't spend that kind of a regression test effort which you would normally do in your traditional ERP system. A lot of attention has SAP has given a lot of attention to the automated testing, clearly because they knew that they're going to land upgrades every quarter. So yeah, adoption and upgrade efforts and innovation cycles. Again, total cost of ownership, we just discussed that. Sorry. uh, SAP S/4HANA Cloud today is probably among the SAP's offerings of the next generation business suite, is probably the lowest when it comes to the total cost of ownership. And as we move across into the on-premise and private cloud options, the cost of ownership does increase. So if your organization is focused and the key driver is the total cost of ownership and running it, of course, it's the with an S/4HANA public cloud solution, your run operation is much simplified. You're as good as running a hands-free operation when it comes to maintaining your IT infrastructure landscape. Commercial models, obviously we spoke about the different commercial models around capex and opex. So it's these are the key drivers which are interlinked. Now, looking at the SAP S4 HANA on-premise and the cloud, they are based on the same data model. They are based on the same user experience. So you'll find similar kind of functionalities and the same code line. But S4 HANA Cloud being a multi-tenant option, the changes to the code line are not allowed, which means that we cannot we cannot write, we cannot create a custom function module, we cannot create a custom report by writing code. Yes, self-service reporting is available, and you don't need to write code for that. You can, it's a very simple way of doing reporting there, in fact. But yes, changes to the underlying code are not allowed with the S4 HANA Cloud solution. The adaptability and extensibility options on the side are definitely allowed, but yeah, there are some limitations there. So now, if you have to consider all these parameters, there definitely is a large vacuum where there you will be needing that guidance from experienced partners, for example Microexcel, where a detailed assessment, business workshops, IT and business workshops would be conducted to be able to understand where what is the spectrum of your business landscape, what sort of processes do you have, what industry bracket you fall into, and then what's your IT landscape today, what's the kind of interfaces you have, and what sort of BI tools you are using. Are you using any third party CRM, MES tools, and so on and so forth. And then with that partner driven assessment service, the partners who are experienced at running the SAP's provided S4 HANA assessment tools, and also their IP, or their own partner tools, will be able to rapidly expedite the entire process, and assess and give you a formal approach. Of course, all these are enabled by the business process questionnaires, the solution architect expertise with these partners, and their solution implementation experience also does count. So the overall experience level of the partner to be able to gauge, probe, and then conclude uh, 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 what your current landscape looks like, and what would be the best deployment option, what would be the best target platform, and what sort of a rough order of magnitude around what will be the effort involved, what will be the involvement of your business and IT teams. And given that this is a change in look and feel and user experience, there is change management also involved, because obviously people are used to seeing their ERP screen or their transactional daily transaction in a certain format, and then there's going to be change involved. So how to mitigate that? An entire charter around the approach on what should be your journey or your move to S4 HANA. So yes, clearly the outcome, the two tangible outcomes would be, alongside your entire path, would be the decisions whether your landscape is a good fit to move on to the on-premise solution or to the cloud, and whether if a greenfield is more suitable, or a brownfield, or a system conversion like SAP calls it, or migration. In other words, what's a better fit for you? You may be very inclined to invest in an appliance or go in for a private option, private cloud option, but then even then there is an option to do a greenfield implementation, thereby re-engineering all the processes, and having a real transformation, business transformation, alongside the digital transformation. So yeah, I'm taking a technical break this side, allowing you to post any sorts of questions. It's not a poll break, but yeah, just think through any questions if you want to post, so that the moderator could pass those on to me.
Right, quick reminder, all the questions can be put in the poll, in the questions panel of your GoToWebinar window. there are no questions as of now, Nitin. I think we can move forward.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so here's a comparative TCO example. It's illustrative. It's from SAP's performance benchmarking service based on feedback collected from over 300 companies of the costs involved in owning and running an on-premise ERP solution versus a cloud ERP solution. So over a 7-year period. So obviously, clearly, we are seeing a 33% reduction compared to the total cost of ownership of an on-premise ERP. And then there are certain blocks which were very large in nature. If you see, there are drastic reductions on operations, which is your run cost, which is on an on-premise could be pegged at almost 33% and has reduced to 13%. One area which probably is not there in the on-premise is this blue box, which is showing 28%, which is amounting to your subscription costs. In an on-premise, you really usually won't have a subscription. And there is a drastic decrease even in the implementation cost because there is no hardware setup to be done. There is a huge benefit. There is no kind of OS patching or OS upgrades downloads to be implemented, and configuration is straightforward. It's guided configuration. Of course, you do need consultant expertise for that because of the process and the SAP solution expertise the consultants have over a period of years. But yes, it's a rapid move to S4 HANA. So being on the cloud option will give you a faster approach, and the overall implementation cost will also drastically reduce. And then upgrade projects is another significant area where the cost percentage has decreased from 16 to 4. Clearly, every time there is an upgrade, it's like almost $100 to $2,000 project. You're thinking which is the best version to go on, and then what's the kind of effort required. Your business teams, your IT teams. You'll have to engage a partner once again. There will be costs involved. There will be, people will leave their regular business activity and focus on a system upgrade. And there will be some kind of disruption in business. I mean, not to the extent of a harm, but yes, it does impact. Upgrade projects do impact normal functioning of a business organization. Okay. So yeah, I think this is a very impressive analysis and benchmarking done by SAP. So I think yeah, this turns out to be very useful. So yeah, I think it's time for another poll question. Come on, Amit, what is happening?
Sure. So I'm going ahead with the second poll, and all attendees should be able to see the poll question now. Which SAP cloud offerings will be of interest to you? 5 options again for people to select from. Okay, I think we have got about 50% of the voting now. Yeah, and now I can see 100% of the responses. All right, so close competition between option 1 and 2. So 57% of the responses are in favor of SAP S/4HANA Cloud Single Tenant Edition, and 43% of responses, respondees have selected SAP S/4HANA Cloud. So that's the outcome,
Okay.
and I'm closing the poll now.
Thanks,
Over to
Amit.
you, Nitin.
Thanks, everybody, for the poll. And yes, that does show the increasing interest of the audience and the overall customer base around the SAP S/4HANA Cloud Single Tenant Edition. So, looking at a deeper dive into all the 4 options, we saw the summary. So, what are our options today? So, we will move from left to right. If you look at the implementation options, uh, with both the cloud options, we have greenfield only. So whether it is SAP S/4HANA Cloud or S/4HANA Cloud Single Tenant Edition, both options give us the option only of greenfield. Data migration, yes, and configuration migration to a certain extent with the single tenant option. With private cloud and on-premise, it's a fully open option. You can go for a greenfield or a system conversion. That means you can migrate your entire database configurations, transactions, everything into the new system. Functional scope. So if you look at the functional scope at the moment, although rapidly growing, there does exist a certain limitation with the S/4HANA Cloud solution. It currently supports administrative ERP, it supports professional services, it supports discrete manufacturing. It does support repetitive manufacturing. It also supports trading kind of industries, financial organizations. But yes, when it comes to certain areas, for example, LOB related solutions, which may be around chemicals, it could be around oil and gas, it could be around process food industry, um, service related functionality, majorly, around service management. So there are some areas where SAP has released basic functionality, but the advanced functionality is planned for the roadmap. So every quarter, SAP will be adding more functionality. The idea is to bring it closer to the on-premise world, supporting all sorts of industry solutions and lines of businesses. But yes, their eventual end state is still being a separate ERP solution in the cloud. There won't be any apple-to-apple comparison from your ERP ECC to the S4HANA cloud solution. So yes, new functionalities are being added, and it's going to get closer. When it comes to the single tenant, there is a vast difference when it comes to the functional scope. The single tenant edition supports all industries, all business processes, all lines of businesses as well. So that means it's a full scope ERP solution running in the cloud, and so is your private cloud on-premise option and an on-premise appliance option as well. That means the besides the S/4HANA Cloud, the rest of the three solutions, they support all industries, they support all processes as well. So it's a full scope. The single tenant edition is a full scope ERP solution. Um, when it comes to extensibility, we already did speak about it. Extensibility means extending the solution or doing a custom development. So extensibility is restricted in the S4HANA Cloud option, where we could do extensibility via the SAP Cloud Platform, or also known as acronymed as SCP, using whitelisted APIs. Of course, there is an option to go one step further to custom develop APIs. But yes, when you develop an API, you need development on both sides. So that means if you have a third-party tool, you'll need a development that side as well. So if that's the kind of agenda on your mind, then yes, you may consider this as well. Well, with the single tenant option, we do have the features of extending your solution with SCP along with the ABAP extensibility option also. That means your baddies, your BAPIs, your RFC calls, your IDOCs, everything is available in the cloud. Uh, However, the only restriction is that SAP standard code modification is restricted. When it comes to the S/4HANA private cloud and on-premise, it's a fully extensible, fully customizable, modifiable option. So, if your organization has been running extensive customizations which you cannot do away with, then probably that may be the target platform for you. Innovation cycles. So if you look at the innovation cycle, we already discussed that there is a quarterly, upgrade that comes from SAP with the S/4HANA Cloud. With the S/4HANA Cloud single tenant option, you have 2 upgrades a year. And there is also an option to choose only one upgrade a year. The other caveat is with the S/4HANA Cloud, SAP is the one that governs those upgrades. But in the single tenant, you have an option of a joint governance. That means the customer has an option to decide and choose certain windows. In the regular S/4HANA cloud, it's a post upgrade, however you may want to call it. But in the single tenant, you do have an option to choose one out of the two upgrades. You may choose both as well if your business continuity plan allows you to. And of course, again here, the upgrades are done by SAP. So the customer is not doing the upgrades, but it's jointly governing the upgrade. And then with the private and on-premise, they're clearly one upgrade a year is released by SAP. It's up to the customer when they want to upgrade. There is no mandatory or mandate around doing at least one upgrade a year. You may do, you may move from two versions lower to two versions higher also, and more also. So yeah, those are the options there when it comes to the innovation cycle. Deployment benefits, we've all seen multi-tenant environment, and it has the lowest total cost of ownership and the fastest time to value. And it's easily scalable. So clearly from that, infrastructure flexibility is the highest flexibility. So when you go left to right, your total cost of ownership is increasing, your license cost probably is increasing, and time to implement is also increasing. So the fastest option is S/4HANA Cloud. The second fastest and the second lowest cost wise is the single tenant option. And as you move into the on-premise and private cloud options, the implementation efforts, the deployment options are significantly longer based on the approach you choose. When it comes to licensing, S/4HANA Cloud is a pure SaaS solution, and so is the single tenant edition. That means you don't have to invest in upfront licenses. You don't have to buy hardware or purchase a data center subscription. You don't have to pay the annual maintenance fee that you pay to SAP. It's all packed into one user-based licensing, the number of users, and there are 2-3 different types of users on which they calculate. But yes, it's a pure play SaaS-based solution. There is no perpetual license concept. Whereas in a private cloud, you will be investing in an upfront license as well as subscription fees for the cloud instance. Infrastructure, S/4HANA Cloud runs on a shared public cloud. Shared meaning there could be multiple tenants on the same instance, but there is no sharing of data, there is no sharing of configuration or any kind of mismatch of any information. So be rest assured, it's a product from SAP and it's foolproof. With the single tenant, there is a dedicated system landscape. That means dedicated system resources and an instance is given to you. And of course, private cloud and on-premise, we all know what it is. So by now, this is a summary of comparison of the different options that are available. And then since you guys are very keen and there is a lot of interest overall on the single tenant edition, so these are some pointers or pillars that we can look at. So scope-wise, it's a full scope ERP, as good as an S/4HANA on-premise solution. It's completely identical functionality-wise. 63 plus country versions are available. 39 plus languages are supported. Industry-specific functionality is available. That means whether you're from chemical industry or oil and gas, or engineering and construction, each and every industry is supported. Even the model company approach, which SAP is now trying to promote, is also available for industry best practices. Of course, there are it's a package solution again, all the licenses, the system landscape, and managed services all in one, just like the S/4HANA Cloud, but with a greater flexibility around usage. Commercial terms are tailored to customers. That's the standard bullet. Nothing much to talk. Yeah. Extensibility wise, we have access to the entire extensibility framework using in-app extensibility. side-by-side extensibility on SCP, and then ABAP-based extension extension options, which we spoke about, user exits, baddies, etc. But yes, the restriction around SAP code being unchanged. Integration, yeah, we didn't speak too much about integration, but yes, it's fully integrable into public cloud systems, on-premise systems, and non-SAP systems as well. So it's a full-blown ERP solution, as good as an on-premise solution, but in the cloud. So this is a slightly delayed offering from SAP after they launched their multi-tenant cloud. But yes, I see a lot of customers wanting to know more and explore more into this solution. We do work with many customers, and a lot of customers have shown their interest and are working with SAP to understand the license possibilities and fitment. So yes, it's important that value driven assessment workshop is what probably most customers require at this moment in time to be able to arrive at the best possible approach for their move to S4 HANA. So yes, again, summarizing, S4 HANA Cloud Edition is the best fit for companies who are agile in nature, and who want to standardize their solution to, the industry best practices, and who are okay with the faster innovation cycle. Again, there is a lot of functionality, new functionality, which customers are getting, which is primarily around the digital core, the intelligent enterprise. Those capabilities are built in order to ensure ease of use, changing, adapting to the changing trends in the industry, and of course, allowing your business users to focus on business and not in the system. So of course, end of the day, to summarize, clearly it is all about business. It's not just an IT project, and move to any new ERP or a updated ERP is always a joint exercise. So yes, bottom line, you must follow the business demands and the business objectives aligning with your IT strategy, and then get the executive alignment, get the buy-ins from the business, uh, discover the value of which model and the return on investment that you would get from each model, and then plan for the execution, right? Do the readiness, make sure you have a plan in place, your budget secured, and then have a confident partner in place, and then work with the partners jointly to actually implement and deliver the success around the project. So yeah, that's it. This is just a slide about Microexcel.
Yeah, thanks, Nitin. That was an informative presentation. We have received few questions in the meanwhile, and I would like to quickly run you through those. First one is, what is the average duration of cloud implementation?
Yes, that's a good question. Usually, cloud implementations would, range anywhere between 3 to 8 months. That's the average, depending on the number of company codes or countries, and the number of processes. But yes, it can be implemented in as fast as 3 months also.
Sure. So thank you for that. Next question is, how about ABAP code and custom development in S4HANA Cloud?
Yes, I think I already covered that. There is a limitation on how much of an ABAP code, but yes, in principle, ABAP is not that supported. So there are different ways to extend the solution, which is through the in-app extensibility and side-by-side extensibility.
All right. The next one is, can we consolidate multiple ERP landscapes into S4HANA Cloud?
Yes, you can.
Okay. The last one is, what kind of team is required to run, manage, and support S4HANA on cloud after go live.
After go live. Okay. So you may need a partner to manage the continuous changes, to support and train and handhold users. But as far as the IT infrastructure team is concerned, you practically don't need resources. You don't need developers to develop reports. You need partner resources, but to a certain extent. So yeah, it's a less heavy run cost or an operation cost model there.
Sure. Thank you, Nitin, for the answers. And we obviously have the opportunity to connect back in case there are any unanswered questions, or if you have questions coming up later. So thank you everyone for your time today. There's a short survey that we have put forth, which you will get on your mail once the webinar is closed. We'll look forward to your responses. Those will help us improve our quality of webinars. And with that, see you next time. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for attending. Bye. Have a nice day.